report on this. Right. All right. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for this 12 o'clock intermediate yoga class. My name is Lacey Wolf. For those of you who have not practiced with me before, welcome and thank you for being here. For those of you who have practiced with me before, thank you for showing up again and for continuing to practice and to be a part of this virtual community. I have this shirt on today. I thought this was fitting. I got up this morning to actually go to a yoga class at a studio, and I showed up. It was a 6 a.m. class, and the instructor didn't show up. So we were all just standing outside the building, or people were sitting in their cars waiting for the door to unlock. And it was sort of one of those times where you're like, oh, this is frustrating. However, trying to be a goldfish. and so I'm happy to be here with you all and to continue to practice. If you haven't seen Ted Lasso, this is one of the kind of foundational components of Coach Lasso's coaching. He talks about in one of the very first episodes, one of the players missed a kick and it was a big kick. And he said, you know what the happiest animal or happiest creature on the planet is? Know what, coach? It's a goldfish. You know why? Because it has a 5-second memory. And often we continue to run scripts, stories, things in our head that are not serving us. And truly, if we can let go of some of that stuff, it can help us to just be happier and healthier. I say things sometimes awkward in conversations, just like everyone in the office, perhaps. Maybe you've said something or said something out in public that you're like, oh my gosh, why did I say that? Or when I'm teaching yoga, and then those stories start to play over and over and over in the mind, and that's totally normal, that chatter of the mind. But through the practice, we can learn to have self-compassion and to talk to ourselves the way we would talk to our good friend, right? It's like, you're okay. I love you. No matter what, you're okay. And we're gonna get through this. And so be a goldfish with me. We're gonna practice letting go. We're gonna do some balancing postures that might be a little challenging today. And whatever happens, you have an opportunity to let go and sort of start over. All right, so I'm gonna move back to my mat from here. And I want you to start in an easy seated position, just for a little bit of breath work, kind of centering ourselves, tuning in to the physical body, kind of getting out of the head and noticing, feeling the breath as it flows in and out, and then making your breath a little bit longer, slower, deeper. Feeling the breath at the area of the diaphragm, feeling the belly rise and fall as we breathe. So often we're trying to suck our bellies in because we're worried about what people will think. It's sort of a cultural phenomenon, not a really healthy way to breathe. Let it out, let your body breathe fully, just like a baby breathes. Inhale and exhale. All right, then from here, if you will just walk your feet out in front of you, bring your feet to the floor and take kind of a wide leg position. And you're just gonna let your legs sort of windshield wiper over to one side. It doesn't matter which side. And then turn your gaze in the opposite direction over your shoulder. And again, think about and feel your body breathe. Notice your pattern. Notice when the mind starts to go back to work or back to whatever else is going on in there, prepping for the next thing or worrying about something in the past. Go ahead and shift your hips. Shift your knees over to the opposite side and look over the other shoulder. Notice the breath here. Make it long, slow, and deep. If nothing else in a 30-minute practice, you're breathing mindfully, you're gonna feel better afterward, I promise. Go ahead and come back to center. And then from here, rise up to sit tall and just take a cobbler's pose. Let your legs fall out to the side and just hinge from your hips here. You can place your forearms in, like just placing your forearms into the thighs or your shin bones there, lengthening the spine and hinging from the hips. Take one more breath. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, go ahead and rise to take your seat. Then from here, we're gonna crisscross our legs, shift forward, coming up onto hands and knees, aligning your joints, making sure your wrists are underneath your shoulders, underneath your elbows, your knees are underneath the hips. Let's start with some cat-cow here. Warming up the spine. Inhale, tilting the head and the tailbone. Exhale, round the upper back, gazing at your belly button. Big stretch through the upper part of the back. And in these cat-cows, if there's something else that might feel good for you, like moving side to side or taking some circular movements, go ahead and just do that now. Take some free movements. Feel into your body. Where do I need space? Take about 3 more rounds of breath here. 2. And 1. My cup here is being very playful. Okay, from here we're going to go ahead and just make your way into what I call a puppy dog position. So this is kind of a modified downward dog. And go ahead and just walk your knees back. So your knees are going to be underneath your hips. And stretch through your fingertips. This is going to shoulder blades to your shoulders. Inhale. Exhale, take one more in. Exhale, let it go. All right, go ahead and rise up. You lock your hands back in, tuck your toes, lift your hips. And your knees off the mat, making your way into your first downward facing dog. Go ahead and just pedal your feet, one heel and then the other. Opportunity to take what you need, feel into the space, the back side of your body, lift your hips toward the ceiling, try to find that neutral spine. Don't worry as much about straightening your legs here as pushing your butt toward the ceiling and holding that nice neutral spine. On your next inhale, we're just going to shift forward into a plank position. Plank is one of the most challenging positions just because you're holding your entire body weight on your hands and your feet. It requires an enormous amount of core strength. If you need to drop your knees down, do it. There's no reason to maintain this posture. If you need to drop your knees down, just go for it. Watch out for sinking or lifting those hips. Hold the plank. If knees down, if you need to, take a breath. We're going to lower down together for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and bring your hands out on the mat. Come up onto your fingertips. Take that wide arm cobra pose. And then exhale, release all the way back down. Bring your right cheek to the floor. Inhale, go ahead and lift up. Now we're going to lower the left cheek and the left shoulder to the mat. Inhale, come back to center. Right cheek, right shoulder. Inhale, come back to center. Squeeze your glutes. Left cheek, left shoulder. Good, one more inhale. And then we exhale, dropping that right cheek, right shoulder. All right, go ahead and slide your hands in so that your thumbs are just inside the line of the chest. By your ribs, we're going to roll the shoulders back. Bring your big toes together, touch your feet together if you can, and then just lift your hands off the mat. Lift your head off the mat. Take the wrinkles out of the back of the neck. Make your neck nice and neutral. This is another very challenging pose. You're ready, release, extend your arms up over the top of your head. Exhale, bring your arms down, cactus. Inhale, lift them up. Good, exhale, slide them in next to your sides. Press your hips all the way back. Take a child's pose. On your child's pose, we're gonna walk our hands off the mat, over to the right side. I have carpet. If you have wood floor or tile, wherever you're on, bring your hands off your mat, and then push your hips in the opposite direction. So you're going to push your left hip crease back. Opening through your ribs, through your lats, that whole side body. Now come all the way back across. Bring your hands to the left side of your mat. Press your hips toward the right rear corner. And again, opening so much space where we kind of bind up through the lats and the ribs. Come back to center, tuck your toes, lift your hips. Take you downward facing dog. All right, let's take 3 rounds of cat sun salutation. I'm going to start from the modification, and then we'll work our way up. Take the version that works for your body today. Inhale, shifting forward, high plank. Exhale, we're going to lower down to the knees and then come all the way down onto the belly. Inhale, rise up, low cobra. Press off the floor a little bit. Back, down facing dog. That variation felt great. Stick with it. Inhale, shift forward, plank. Exhale, knees remain off the floor for this variation. Come down all the way to the mat. Inhale, rise up. Cobra pose. Exhale, tuck the toes, come through the knees, press back, downward dog. Inhale, shift forward, plank. This time we're going to exhale, lower down halfway. Inhale, come up to the tops of the feet for upward facing dog. Now we press straight back, downward facing dog. Take a breath. Inhale, exhale. And he's going to bring your teddy bear. Inhale, exhale. Take one more and then step your feet slowly, one at a time, all the way to the top. Bring your feet close to each other, hips distance apart. You can crisscross your arms here. Take the opposite elbow and let your head hang. To me, this is the ultimate letting go pose. This is the be a goldfish pose. I go, whatever doesn't serve you, just let it fall out of the top of the head. Release something you don't need to hold on to. Negative self-talk. Something that happened before you came here. Something you're scared will happen after you leave here. Go ahead and bring your hands to your hips and rise all the way up to standing, coming into mountain pose. All right, I want to incorporate some balancing postures into our flow today. So we're going to start with a single leg mountain pose. So you're just going to lift your right foot off the floor, and you can bring your hands to prayer pose right in front of your chest. And then we're going to work our way into a warrior 3 variation, just hinging from the hips, pressing that right foot back. And then you're going to set your right foot to the mat. Inhale, rise up into a high lunge. And then from here, we're going to bring our arms parallel to the floor. Hold. Breathe here. And then we're going to pull, like you're pulling for a bow. And we're going to rotate and twist, gazing toward your left hand. So you should feel a big rotation in the spine. Now we're just going to tip over, bring that right hand to the mat, taking a twisting lunge. Take a breath. Exhale, release your left hand to the mat. Go ahead and drop your back knee to the floor. Take a low lunge here. Inhale. Exhale, sink forward. Go ahead and shift your hips back, moving into a half split pose. All right, from here, we're going to take this front leg and just shift it over. So we're creating more of a slant across the center of the mat. You're going to bring your right hand and then just hold on. You should be feeling a deep stretch here in your IT band, which is this band that runs along the outer edge of your left leg. If you run, cycle, or sit very much, this is probably pretty darn tight. You know mine is. Okay, hold on. Take one more breath. Exhale. Go ahead and walk your hands. Walk your foot back to the center. Shift your hips forward. You're going to plant your back heel. Let's rise all the way up. Pinwheel the hands into warrior 2 position. Settle, turn your left palm up, reach back, reverse your warrior. Notice the breath here. Now we'll extend the front leg, come out and down for triangle pose. Dropping your left hand to the floor, your right arm's gonna reach up toward the ceiling. And then from here, we'll release that right hand to the mat. Hop your back foot forward just a little bit as we move into pyramid pose. Bring your left hand to the floor, to a yoga block if you need it, if the floor is too far away, or a book or anything you can support yourself on, or your shin, all right? And then we're gonna twist and rotate. Taking that twist, and again, accessing that IT band on the outer left hip. Take another breath. Release your left hand to the mat. Go ahead and step your left foot back into downward facing dog. Let's take a flow here. Inhale, shift forward plank. Exhale, lower down. Half roll the way. Inhale, up dog. Your exhale is going to push you downward dog. From here, we step the feet one at a time all the way to the top of the mat. Taking our forward fold with a ragdoll variation option. Another nice variation here is to hold on to the muscles, the back of the skull. You can always, just apply a little in here. That can feel so nice. Now pressing down into the feet, we're going to rise up all the way to standing. Taking that same sequence on the other side, press your weight into your right foot. You're going to lift your left leg off the mat, making your way into single leg mountain pose. Hold that balance. Remember, be a goldfish. If it doesn't work out, don't worry about it. It's just yoga, not a big deal, right? Your hands together. Really just here to work on building resilience. Start to shift forward, making your way into warrior 3 feet, and then lowering with control into our high lunge position. Take a breath. Exhale, come down halfway. Stay here, set yourself up. This time we're gonna peel back the right hand, gazing still over those fingertips. Taking your rotation here. Big twist through the upper part of the back, so strong. Take another breath. Then we're gonna release the left hand to the mat. Rotate through. Stack your joints. Your right hand and wrist should be stacked on top of the left hand and wrist. See how it feels. Press your back heel more toward the floor. Shift your front knee more toward the front of the room. Take one more breath. Release your right hand to the mat, dropping your back knee to the floor. Rise up into low lunge, hinging those hips forward. We breathe here. Enjoy the breath. And then shifting your hips back, taking your half splits. And again, propping yourself up however you need to, using your blocks, pillows. Take one more breath. We'll take our right foot, go ahead and lift it across. You're going to make that diagonal. And then walk your left hand to the other side of that leg. And pushing your hips toward the back of the room is going to intensify this. If you need it to be more intense, it's pretty darn intense. No matter what you're doing, if you got that leg across the mat, take one more breath here. Settle into it. Go ahead and come back to center. Moving that foot back to the center of the mat, shifting your hips forward. Plant your back foot parallel to the back of the mat. Here we're going to pinwheel the arms up. Rise into your warrior 2 position. Again, gazing out over your front fingertips. Check your alignment. Notice where your feet are. Do you feel strong through your feet? Noticing your core, stability, holding you up nice and tall. And then plugging your shoulders into their sockets so strong. Your arms should be engaged as somewhere to come up and try to push down on them. They wouldn't go anywhere. Go ahead and reach back, reverse your warrior. Opening up through that side body, again, lengthening and strengthening. At the same time, extend your front leg. We'll come out and down, making our way into triangle pose here. Gazing toward your fingertips. If it's appropriate, take one more breath. And when you're ready, we're going to exhale, release the left hand to the floor, right hand to the floor. Step your back foot forward a little bit into your pyramid pose. We're going to take that big rotation, big twist here, releasing your left hand here, here, here on the block, wherever you need it. Rotate through the spine. Keep pressing your right hip crease back, even though it wants to maybe pop out to the side to alleviate some of that strain. Hold and push it in the opposite direction. So you're increasing the length of the muscles, which will help to increase your mobility in your joints. Take one more breath. Release your right hand to the mat. Go ahead and step your right foot back. Downward facing dog. Take a flow here. Inhale, shift forward plank. Exhale, lower down to the belly. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Go ahead and press that into your child's pose. Reaching your hands into full extension. All right, let's tuck our toes. Lift our hips, downward facing dog. From here, we're gonna hop to the top of the mat and just take a seat, making our way into boat pose. So for boat pose, you can hold on underneath your thighs. You can touch your toes to the ground, or you can extend and release. Find the space where you're being challenged, but you're not falling down. A little shaky means we're building strength and resilience. Shaking is good. All right, let's see if we can drop down into a low boat pose, just dropping your low back to the floor, and then inhale, lift. Back to high boat. Exhale, lower down, low boat. Inhale, rise up into your high boat. Lower down and rise. Take two more, two. Rise up and one down and lift. All right, go ahead and cross your legs, making your way back into a seated position toward the camera. Inhale, rise up. Go ahead and walk your hands forward. Just taking a seated cross-legged fold. Let your head release down toward the floor. You might have noticed your heart rate elevating a little bit, maybe your breath rate and pace picking up a little bit through some of those standing postures or some of the plank postures. Go ahead and rise to center. Cross your legs, the opposite one going to come on top. Fold. Notice now as you settle back to a seated position, how your body's breathing. Notice if you feel a little bit more openness through your hips, through your shoulders, and just that warmth in your hands that tells us blood flow, which is a good thing. Go ahead and rise on back up. Walk your feet out where we started class today, and windshield wiper your legs over to the left side. Turn your gaze back over your right shoulder. Back to center and all the way back across. Turn your gaze over your left shoulder, knees going toward the right. Good, coming back to center. From here, we'll cross our right leg over the left, taking a seated pigeon pose. Make sure that you're keeping this ankle that's on top very strong. That's where you're gonna get the most benefit from the pose, and it's also gonna help to protect your knee. Now pushing your knee with your hand even, you can take your hand and push your knee a little bit toward the computer, toward the camera, push forward. Hold that strength, but let go of holding it with your hand. Just use your muscular strength to do the same thing. Take another breath here. Exhale, let it go. Good, take your right hand, wrap it around that right foot, and just draw your knee toward the back of the room, taking some hip movement. Flossing those hips. Go ahead and release that foot to the floor. We're going to switch sides here, cross the other leg. Notice what's happening in your left ankle. Make it strong. This ankle is going to protect your knee. Now take your hand, press it against your knee. Notice where you feel that. Now don't let go of that strength, but let your hand release back. Maintain that stability through the joint. Take another couple breaths here. 2 and 1. Go ahead and wrap your hand around the outer edge of that foot. Pull your knee toward the back of the room. Pull back. Just take some nice big movements through your hip. Last one, and release. Let's just take a straddle position here. Bring your legs out wide, maintaining the length through your spine. So what I mean by that is this is going to stay extended, not here. All right, where you start to do this is where we want to stop. If you're extended, maybe walk your hands forward a little bit, right? You can flex and point your toes, see how that changes things, where you feel that more or less. And notice how every time you exhale, you're able to come a little bit deeper, just a little bit deeper. That's because as you exhale, you're activating the parasympathetic branch of your nervous system, your rest and digest branch. All right, from here, take one more deep breath in. Let's take a deep breath together. Fill up. Exhale, let go a big sigh. Walking your hands back to center. Pull your knees back together. And then from here, we're going to make our way into our final relaxation pose. So you can lower yourself down with control, holding onto the back of your legs, releasing your head. Release, extend your legs. If you need some support underneath your knees, you can stack pillows or a blanket under there to help relieve any tension you might have in your low back. And just take a couple of head movement side to side, just shaking your head no, and then come back to center. As you settle into the relaxation position, just start to feel the ground underneath you. Feel your points of contact. Notice where you're being supported. Probably feel the ground firmly underneath the back of your shoulders, the back of your head, your arms, all the way out to the tips of the fingers. Your hips firmly rooted and grounded, supported, and the legs all the way down through your heels. Now just letting your body breathe on its own. You've been controlling and regulating your breath. Just let your body breathe. Feel that breath come in and out. Feeling the rise and fall of your belly. Just getting really into the breath here. So much so that everything else just kind of falls to the wayside. We'll stay here just for a couple more breaths. If you can stay here longer, I highly recommend it. If you're ending this class with me, just go ahead and slowly make your way into a sideline posture. And then we'll press off the floor to rise all the way up to take a seat. All right. See all we have several of you with us today. Good participation today. Good, so nice to practice with all of you. If you have a moment, I'm going to stop this and I want to just share a quick